So a very good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Dr. Rajshekhar, Professor and Director, IQAC at SR University. The outset, distinguished speaker of today's webinar, Dr. GP Rajshekhar Sir, Professor HAG, Department of Mathematics, IIT Kharagpur, my colleagues at SR University, and esteemed participants from other universities and organizations. A hearty welcome. First of all, I would like to thank and appreciate Professor Rajshekhar ji for accepting our invitation within a short duration to give a talk on implementation of National Education Policy, NEP in short, 2020 at higher educational institutions, the pathways and challenges. For the current webinar, we have an overwhelming response with more than 400 registrations from across India. So let me begin with saying that we at SR University are conducting a series of expert talks on diverse topics with focus on technological advancements to both students and faculty. In addition to this, we at IQAC at SR University felt the need to take a leading role in disseminating and creating a platform for intellectual dialogue on the role of higher educational institutions in nation building, under the guidance of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Deepak Garg, who is a visionary.
Professor Rajshekhar, sorry to interrupt you. Many colleagues are texting that they are not able to hear. I am able to hear you, but other colleagues, they're in the chat box, they are not able to hear.
Okay. Ravikiran sir, how is
it's actually fine from our side, sir.
Yes, but many
probably participants, please check the volume, check the internet connection so that you'll be hearing clear.
Now it's okay. Somebody said now it's okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Please proceed.
No issues. So with the direction of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, we are taking this to the next level. Further, with the Government of India planning to implement the new education policy in a big way, and recently NAC shifting to the binary accreditation, we're all going to visualize drastic changes in the landscape of education system in the next 5 years, I believe. However, still many higher educational institutions are in the nascent stage of understanding the goals of NEP and the possibilities and challenges of its implementation, which needs to be understood at the minute level. With the outlook of education system shifting more towards outcome and the impact created to the stakeholders, which was previously the process-based, we believe these interactions will benefit faculty, researchers, stakeholders, all, I mean, the managements included. So let's all together play our part to support the government's vision of Viksit Bharat, a developed country by 2047. I would like to take the opportunity to briefly introduce our university to the participants from other institutions. Our SR University journey began way back in 2002 as an SR Engineering College, later became autonomous in 2012, and gradually turned to university status, accredited by several agencies as well. SR University is one among the first 5 private universities declared by Telangana state government in 2020. In the very first few years of its establishment, SRU has gained national and international recognition. Let me present you some. SR University has attained All India first rank among private colleges in the Atal ranking of institutions on innovation achievements, attained 98th rank in engineering category, and was positioned in the rank band of 101 to 150 in university category for the year 2023. I would like to mention here in the last 2-year rankings, SRU has figured in top 100 rankings. Further, SRU has also figured in 30th rank in the UI Green Metric World Universities in India and 619 globally. The university has been at the forefront of imparting quality technical education, and most of our programs are accredited by NBA in the tier 1 mode. Further, the university has several MOUs, collaborations with reputed universities, research organizations, industries, and communities in India and abroad. So in the context, I leave an open invitation to you all to visit our university and as well as engage in a collaborative work. So two specific guidelines for the participants I would like to leave. Participants may post their queries in the Zoom chat box along with their name and affiliation during the session, which shall be presented to the speaker at the end of the webinar. The second one is I request all the participants to submit feedback form to be given during the webinar session. I now hand over the session to Dr. Ravi Kiran, who is Associate Director IQS.
Thank you, sir. I think I'm audible.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. It is with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I take the opportunity to briefly share you the purpose of initiating this webinar. The National Education Policy represents a pivotal moment in the history of Indian education, escorting in transformative changes aimed at fostering innovation, inclusivity, and excellence across all levels of learning. Today, we gather here to explore the practical aspects of implementing this landmark policy within our higher educational institutions. In fact, the government of India is proactive in implementing this in all levels of education at the earliest. But many institutions now, many institutions have not yet geared up to implementation, and in many cases, they even don't know what are the initiatives of NEP 2020. So, keeping this in view, throughout this webinar, we'll delve into what you say the pathways and challenges associated with the implementation of NEP 2020, seeking to unravel its complexities and uncover strategies for success. We are honored to be joined by our esteemed speaker today, an educator, Professor G.P. Rajshekhar Garu, who will share his invaluable insights and experiences and expertise on this particular subject. Now, let me take the privilege of introducing the speaker for today's webinar. Although the professor is already widely recognized, throughout the country, it is customary to introduce the guest to the audience. Professor Rajshekhar has 27 years of teaching and research experience. He did his master's and PhD at Hyderabad Central University in the years 1990 and 97 respectively. He spent 2 years at Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology, Tokyo, on Japan Society for Promotion of Science Fellowship during the years 98 and 2000. He joined IIT Kharagpur in the year 2000 and currently Professor HEG. His research areas are on mathematical modeling and applications of fluid flow problems to real life problems like biological tumor growth and drug transport, existence and uniqueness results, dynamics of swimming, microorganisms, multi-phase models to enhance oil recovery, and his recent works are on interaction of cavities inside granule material, which has potential applications in understanding groundwater networks, and this appeared in Journal of Fluid Mechanics, Cambridge University Press. He has been recipient of several prestigious awards and fellowships. To name a few are INSA, Indian National Science Academy Young Scientist Award, Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship. Professor Rajshekhar is a fellow of National Academy of Sciences, and he is also a member of Andhra Pradesh Academy of Sciences, West Bengal Academy of Sciences, etc. He was awarded the JBS Gold Medal by Indian Academy of Mathematical Modeling and Simulation in the year 2018. Professor Rajshekhar was awarded the National Mathematician of the Year 2023 by Ponnala Trust, instituted at National Institute of Technology, Warangal. Recently has been elected as Fellow of Industry Academy within the International Artificial Intelligence Industry Alliance. Professor Rajshekhar has held several administrative positions at IIT Kharagpur. He held the position of Dean Planning and Coordination, Dean Faculty of Sciences, Dean Continuing Education at IIT Kharagpur. And he was also organizing chairman, for GATE in the year 2014. And he was the chairman, Career Development Center, convener, and he was also convener at all IIT placement committees. Professor Rajshekhar has visited several countries for research collaboration. And to name a few, I'm just informing you only the few countries: UK, Poland, Germany, Romania, Japan, etc. And coming to his research. He has guided 14 students and a few more are ongoing. He is a well-known speaker at prominent events in India and abroad. Sir, your presence adds immense value to our webinar and we are excited to learn through your esteemed expertise. Sir, I request you now to take over and enlighten our audience. Sir.
Yeah, very good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me thank Dr. Kiran Kumar for his elaborate introduction. Things are available on the website. Those who are interested, they could have seen. But nonetheless, he wants to show his affection. So, and let me thank Professor Rajshekhar, Director of the Quality Assurance Cell, SR University, for initiating this and inviting me to this webinar and giving me an opportunity to share some of my thoughts. So I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, sir. Perfect.
So let me first thank the university for this initiative because it's a very important topic. Since the announcement of National Education Policy 2020, it has created a lot of excitement, but many institutes are still struggling to understand, and then some individuals they struggle to not understand, but to probably develop some misconceptions, etc. So this is an effort to clarify some of the matters and show a tentative roadmap for science, engineering, technology institutes on how these pathways can be implemented in such SETI institutes. When I say SETI institutes, science, engineering, technology institutes. So with this, because pathways are certainly listed, but how these could be implemented and what are the challenges as an education institute one would come across, and how individuals have to understand, how individuals have to take it further. So these are the aspects which I would like to cover. So I not only discuss the pathway, I will also show possible measures one can take through which these goals can be achieved. At the same time, I would like to flag possible challenges. So before I start, so the reference is NEP goals, which is from NEP 2020 document, and then the document by National Credit Framework. And with my vast experience at IIT Kharagpur, in particular as a Dean Faculty of Sciences, where I was trying to coordinate the new curriculum, the revised curriculum at IIT Kharagpur. So these are out of my experiences at IIT Kharagpur, and then some my personal thoughts. Of course, any individual can differ, so that's not a problem. So now, when we talk about NEP 2020, so many colleagues they try to put it as a new education policy. Of course, it's new, but the N represents the national education policy. So this I would like to make a caution. And what it is talking about, what it is saying is, let the child enjoy the education. So that's the ultimate aim of this. So it's not like you have to study for the sake of study. So it's not like that. So it should be study when you say it's complete amalgamation of all aspects of life. So that's the key message from NEP 2020. So you will see what some of the verticals through which we try to understand these, and then we try to achieve. And what are the tools? Tools, definitely the individuals. When I say individuals, students, faculty, parents, and definitely various employers, institutes, and organizations. So these are the tools. Unless we come up with a handshake, we won't be able to achieve the best out of NEP 2020. So now I would like to flag the goal at the top and then put my thoughts following that. So if you see here, So the first I have listed what it is saying. Education should be very integrated and then it should be innovative. For this, the first thing anybody would like to talk is the flexibility, because without flexibility, the learning has no meaning. So most of the institutes these days started talking about our curricula is flexible and things like that. But when you say flexible, it's not just taking few electives, etc., that you say curriculum is flexible. What beyond? Because until NEP 2020, most of the institutes have this curricular flexibility. But when we talk about NEP 2020, something beyond. So what is that beyond? So first thing NEP talk is multiple exit and multiple entry. Please make a note of it. I'm not saying multiple entry first. I'm saying multiple exit first. So then multiple entry next. Why? Why? Because if you see the current scenario, suppose a +2 student gets admitted into a college for a BTech program or a BSc program, and after a couple of years, due to various reasons, could be due to peer pressure, the student took a particular branch, but not able to develop any interest, and end of 2 years would like to deviate from the field to look for a career of their interest. So then the current scenario until NEP 2020, there are not much of avenues. And not only that, there is a lot of social pressure. Even the fellow students would try to look this particular person from a different perspective. So end of the day, due to various pressures, let it be family pressures or let it be their own individual pressures, if they leave, they are left with no degree and they are just given same the +2 degree is retained, and then they end up without any degree. So this is this is where the multiple exit is very handy. So what is the ultimate aim of a multiple exit? The ultimate aim is create opportunities for the non-routine. Of course, you will respect the merit. So when I say respect the merit, somebody is excelling and then in 4 years with a 9 CGPA, we don't want to demean them. We want to recognize them and they are the performers. But at the same time, students who are struggling, it could happen for multiple reasons. See, they are into particular discipline, but they are not somehow getting interested. Their interest is something else. So these are the cases we would like to address under NEP 2020. So you respectfully, with a certain credit loading, if you complete, you have an option to go for a multiple exit, right? So I'll talk about it each in detail. Since we have a multiple exit, hence we have multiple entry. It's not the other way. So since we have a multiple exit, that means a student is admitted for a particular program, 4-year program, end of 2 years. When I say not the time period of 2 years, end of 2-year credits, due to some reason, student would like to change career or develop. So you get an exit with a something. What is that something? Possible some things we can talk little later. And hence, after taking an exit there, after spending a couple of years at various other interests, so suddenly the student would like to come back and continue the studies, and hence we have a multiple entry. So let me put this. So there are multiple dimensions. What I am speaking is one of the dimension, right? So this is, so respect the merit, same time create opportunities for the non-routine. I don't want to say underperformer, blah, 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 blah. It is non-routine. Why? Today, a parent after 4 years, if their ward is not getting a bachelor's degree, they are panicked and they have a lot of pressure. So we want to break this syndrome. They should be proudly declaring that the student is exploring various career paths and identify their own interest and excel in life. So that's the idea here. So now, when you talk about multiple entry, multiple exit, So if you take a reference program of UG, you have several options. I will cover each again in detail in a particular SETI institute. So here BTech with and without honors. So this could be the first difference. That means you have bright students who are excelling, but let us say a BTech program requires 160 credits. Those who are getting 160 credits, I'm not talking credit based loading. That means these 160 credits are done in 3 years of time. So that is a different ball game. Let us say end of 4 years, somebody completes 160 credits, they'll be given a BTech degree. But if there are some meritorious students, they do some 160 plus. And what is that plus? Institute can designate, and once they do this 160 plus, they can be given honors degree. So this is one deviator, but there could be other deviations which institutes can think of. And the other popular is a minor program. So which means today somebody has got admission in BTech mechanical engineering, but the student also shows interest in electronics engineering. So then electronics engineering specifies some credits, and then within that credits, if they do along with the BTech in mechanical, so you'll be given a major in mechanical and a minor degree in electronics. Then there is a micro specialization. Suppose a student would like to excel completely in robotics, because today with a lot of innovation happening with drone technology. Say you list a very structured, stitched courses of say some 5 subjects, and if somebody, these 5 should be very specialized in that narrow area, so then they will be given a micro specialization in say robotics, or micro specialization in multi-object optimization, or whatever you need. So then the micro credit. What is the micro credit? Micro credit is, say you have your, as an organization, you have all PhDs and who are experienced and all that, but their exposure to industry is very limited. So now this is one vertical where you can have an interaction with industry experts. They need not be PhD holders, but rather they have a vast industry experience. So now these industry experts can get in touch with an expert at the in-house. They design a microcredit course of say 2 credits, which consists of 12 hours. So then the syllabus is prepared by the industry expert, and the industry expert visits on campus for 5 working days, delivers the lectures, and the exam is conducted by the coordinator and things like that. So other one which many of the institutes have started implementing is, gone are the days where you have a typical 8 weeks internship, because industry is no longer just with 8 weeks internship. They would like to, they feel that 8 weeks is very less. They would like to interact more with these young talent and assess them properly, so that they are in a better position to drive the project, and then if possible give a pre-placement offers and things like that. So this is a semester away internship which you stitch your curricula such that either 7th semester or 8th semester the students completely spend at a industry. So this is a win-win situation for the students as well as the industry. Then the other one which is neglected at most of the engineering institutes is UG research projects. Why I'm saying neglected? So we have very young budding talent. When we have a typical UG project, which is part of their BTech project, we often see that they end up in cooking up the thesis in maybe 4 weeks time, just for the academic requirement. And there may not be much of innovation, even though these youngsters have a lot of talent. So in order to channelize this, right after their second year, when they got exposure of courses, sufficient exposure of the core subjects, you start a mentorship where a faculty is aligned, with a group of students, and then you assign some project so that they really the culture of UG research is nurtured from there, and then by the time they come to BTech project, so they are really matured enough, and then real innovation is there on board. Then what NEP is saying, you have to break the rigid boundaries. You cannot say, okay, you're learning in classroom and this is the credit. You're learning in laboratory, this is the credit. That's it. Anything other than that, I won't recognize. So that's what NEP is saying to break it. So today, if you see a lot of students, very bright, and they innovate a lot using various technology clubs, robotic clubs, etc., various technology societies, innovation cells, and the innovation happens overnight. They break their head, they spend a lot of time, but it's not going into the curriculum. So what NEP is saying, there should be avenues to recognize this particular channel as well. So that's the idea here. Then PG program, you have 1 year diploma, you can call it, and then 2 year PG, that's a complete degree. And at master's level, if you see, suppose if you go to Germany, most of the projects directly come from an industry. Even in mathematics, the project is coming from industry. So that means we need to somehow align with industry requirements and have a handshake with the industry expert and try to formulate the problem. Then focus towards conference and journal papers, at least as master's level. This is very much required. Then certificate of excellence. This is a very specialized, which I'll talk a little later. So then if institutes have a 5-year integrated program, entry at 4-year level, which at IITs that is switched over, option for continuing to the higher degree. So entry at 4-year. So then multiple exit is there, which we will talk in detail later. So then also those who are interested, they can continue at the same institute for a 5-year integrated. Then most important is PhD program, where most of the times we see that students after spending 3 years, somehow they, due to various reasons, they quit. Some could be they're getting a job and then they, due to family pressure, they have to. So a better option is with some guidelines, an MS degree could be offered so that such students, if not PhD, they get an MS degree. Okay. So then what is, still we are under multiple entry, multiple exit. That means it's a more flexible one. How do we implement, etc. we talk. So BTech and dual degree, first year common credits and early introduction of specialization. So first year common credits versus early introduction of specialization. Most of the institutes which I come across, first year very common curricula, that is fine, but a civil engineering student is not learning any civil engineering in first year, so their entire energy, their interest will be slightly deviated. So therefore, with a lot of thought, departments can come up with some modules where at first year level, they introduce these modules. So then you have do-it-yourself laboratory courses. These creates a lot of excitement. At IIT Kharagpur, we have implemented, and this is creating a lot of excitement where students, after 2-3 weeks of exposure to various technologies, they themselves, they try to open the complete IC circuits and study, and then come up with some innovation. Somebody is coming up with some dustbin with a sensor and things like that. Okay, so these are various innovations are possible. So then 2-year MSc, MBA, MTech, etc. I'm putting it in a one basket. So you can have some credits, but some credits should be very flexible, right? So then another thing is people try to say, I have 2 electives. One is 3 subjects, another is 3 subjects, and take one from here, etc., etc. But many times you're not in a position to offer all the 3 in each basket. So my suggestion is combine these and then ask the student take any two, so that that's much more. And in today's world, independent of your branch, you should know some computing or coding. So this is the mantra. Unless you excel, you won't be able to achieve big picture at a larger career development level. So in any field, even if you are going to an advanced academic career, unless you have a coding and computing, it's very difficult to excel in each of the areas. Then lateral entry, that is the multiple entry, needs a very clear policy, right? So that means when you're asking a student after 2 years at one institute would like to join at the third year at another institute, so the receiving institute should have guidelines, very well knitted guidelines, under what circumstances the student will be admitted at a lateral level, and for the rest of the 2 years, if the student is studying at this institute, who will be giving the degree. So these things we can talk little later. On the other hand, what happens with the multiple exit? Because as per the NEP guidelines, and then very soon we'll see National Credit Framework. So there, at each level, credit levels, there is a possibility of equivalence and what kind of degree one can offer. So once you offer that, so it's going to be a little non-traditional. So better we take the inputs from students, industry experts, etc., any organization before implementing, so that these multiple exits and entries have a larger acceptability, and it's easy for the students and easy for the organization to navigate, right? So that we are educating everyone. So that's the ultimate aim. Okay. So now another very important weapon, that is nothing but the National Credit Framework and Academic Bank of Credits. So this is under NEP 2020. So how do we achieve this? So I'll talk little details about National Credit Framework later. But what it says is you have to recognize the academic credits. So that means suppose I'm there at a particular institute doing a 4-year bachelor's in electronics. End of 2-year credits, my credits are there in a bank. Then I go for a particular other career, I work for 1 year, or I would like to claim these credits at another organization. So this process should be very smooth. Unless you recognize this particular academic institute, the other institute won't accept it. So therefore, you need a level playing platform. So with that vision, the National Credit Framework has been designed, and under DigiLocker, each institute has to register under Academic Bank of Credits, right? So we'll talk about this later, but my suggestion here is you have to have somewhere you have to start. You cannot say I'm a top institute, I won't recognize some things like that. So you can form a cluster, right? So if you define the rules of the game, then it's very easy. So to start with, since we have NRF, you can declare that this is the cluster I am making. As long as your NRF ranking is this, I will immediately recognize, and there is a clear academic mapping. So that's the first thing I would advocate. So then the other one could be you develop institute-centric platform where some national, international institutes, you have an MOU and do the direct academic mapping. Because it's not so easy. When I say academic mapping, it's not so easy because most of the times when you have an admission, many departments face this challenge, many institutes, because at a particular place, these subjects are done with some title and the other department is not recognizing. Then there is you will take it to equivalence committee, and equivalence committee, it's a lot of energy goes in, right? So they have to really see the transcripts and then syllabus and things like that. Instead of that, you have a proper MOU, and based on that, with some flexibility, some error up to 20% within the syllabus, there is a direct academic mapping. So therefore, institute-centric platform with these MOU institutes can be. Then what is the flexible rule? Proactive guidelines on credit recognition. So that's a flexible rule you have to declare beforehand. That means you say that I will recognize this, I will recognize that, this, that. So you make a checklist and then brainstorm and then freeze it. One danger is you have multiple claims. That means somebody is claiming here, somebody is claiming the same credits in parallel, etc. So that one has to be little careful. So that moonlighting, one has to have some measures taken. So out of my experience, because I have been since the inception of NEP 2020, I have been talking a lot about it at various other platforms. So these are the FAQs, in particular with the multiple entry, multiple exit. What is apprehension is, oh, you are giving after first year something, after second year something, after third year something. So all the students will leave and then you will be left with nobody. The answer is no, because given uh, any generic scenario, student has joined to achieve the degree. If it is a 4-year degree, they would like to continue all the way 4 years and get that degree. If it is a 3-year degree, naturally, student would like to go and achieve the 3-year degree. Then, what are we talking about the multiple exit? As I briefly hinted, so the multiple exit is student got admission, but student is not gaining enough interest into that field. Student want to explore with other fields. So we would like to facilitate such students. So it doesn't happen if there are 100 students in a particular branch, it won't happen with all the 100 students. Today, even if it happens with 2 students, they're not getting any degree. So we would like to facilitate such students with this. So therefore, don't worry about it. You will still have enough students who are continuing till the end. Who will recognize at ease exit? Well, this is definitely everybody is curious. Let me tell you, it's not that we want to give an exit certificate and immediately they should be placed. We are not catering to that channel. It is again, it's like students who are taking a pause with a secure exit in their pocket, explore their interests, come back at a later stage. So it's not that end of 2 years they should take some diploma and then immediately they should work with that diploma. No, if you really are interested in that field, you continue and finish all the 4 years. Of course, if there is somebody who is willing to accept, yeah, even today they accept without any degree after 2 years, one can join a company. So one can start their own business, etc. Then multi-entry, which institute would award the degree? So that means, as I mentioned, after 2 years from a particular institute, student is going to another institute. So now 2 years here, 2 years there. Who would award the degree? Yes, you can have a proper MOU, you can do it. If 1 year, 3 years, how do you do it? So there are various operating mechanisms. So you have to design these. And if you have an MOU with the institute, a priori, you finish these MOUs. So the next goal of NEP is open and distance learning. So what it says, you give a bigger picture to this, and earlier, suppose two graduates appear for a particular career development placement, and somebody is, I'm talking about off campus, somebody is a direct degree, somebody is a distance learning. Naturally, somehow company may think, or individual sitting on the chair may think, oh, this student had done this course in distance learning, so let me not prefer. We want to break this syndrome. So that's another big thing which NEP is anticipating. You create verticals where even in a regular program have some component, recognize, etc. And the higher education institutes offer more and more such programs. So you can see most of the IITs slowly they started coming up, and many other reputed institutes coming up with these distance learning programs. And under this, what you can do, you can offer limited credits to partner institutes, have an MOU, right? That means uh, your BTech program of 160 credits, maybe 20 credits through other distance learning from another institute. You do it and you recognize straight away, right? So then today, if you have an NPTEL course, I can participate in the assignments and take the exam, then I'm given a certificate and it has also a rating. So now these certificate, let it be 1 credit or 2 credits, some individual has done say 3 subjects like this, you recognize straight away. You have a cap, but you recognize. Now, when it comes to the institute offering distance learning, there is a trick because suppose today you have BTech Electrical Engineering, BTech Computer Science, you offer the same BTechs in distance learning, then there is a big problem because how do you recognize which one is better, blah, blah. So, immediate solution is you have a disjoint set of specializations. So that means you offer in a distance mode very unique programs. For example, today IIT Madras has BSc AIML. So they have attracted a large number of applications. I'm sure it's going successful. So what as an institute, if you want to venture into online distance mode, uh, naturally your student who is doing in a regular mode will be dissatisfied. So therefore, you have a disjoint set of specializations. If possible, go for very specialized ones under distance mode. Then there is a possibility of this small practice. Some agencies will say that we are a joint program with this institute, blah, blah. So you have to have a vigilance on this so that things are very clear. So then what is the next goal of NEP is National Mission for Mentoring with a large pool of expertise. This is very unique, I would say. What it means, today you have a faculty who worked 35 years in a particular area and developed a superior expertise. And then these resources should not be limited to one place. So therefore, what it is saying, you have a mission for mentoring where you are nurturing students, not just job oriented, career oriented. Your knowledge, your expertise is disseminated with students across institutes so that they understand what is happening in this field and they are not following a routine narrow channels, rather they go get a wider picture. And individual institutes can establish a platform with partner institutes where you have expertise, we have expertise, pull up, and then you have a common repository. Many times what happens, there is an expert talk happens, and then later on, within 1 week, it's very hard to locate where is this expert talk. So therefore, it's very useful you develop a platform with partner institutes and your own retired faculty, so those who are retired, maybe in their early career, they did not got a chance to record NPTEL lecture, etc. But now we can ask them to record and then have a complete repository. So you develop somehow a large pool of resources with a superior expertise. So that is one thing which is another NEP goal. So now here there is a thin line between mentor and supervisor. See, mentor is like slightly different. Supervisor means really you are participating in the academic program. Mentor means you're just peripheral, you're giving some advice. So no direct supervision. So that you have to have proper guidelines. So then other is National Education Technology Forum. This is again free exchange of ideas. That means it's an extension of what just I mentioned. You really go for, when I say repository, now we are coming back and converting into a typical teaching learning center, right? Where, so you have a senior colleague, they often we learn, no, we hear from, so this particular teacher is fantastic, the way he teaches and the methods the teacher is displaying, fantastic, but then those things should not go off once the teacher is retired. So you create a teaching learning center where these are really accumulated as a repository, and then the younger faculty get a chance to really undergo and then learn, pick up from these. So this is a big picture which enhances teaching, learning, and innovation. So this is a combined effort. This is for each institute. There should be a teaching learning center. Then you can establish a nodal unit in a journal level. So you can create. Of course, you should have a proper MOU and whatever the copyrights, etc. You should sign the agreements, and then. So that's where the conflict happens. So that's why I have mentioned no exploitations. There should be level playing grounds. So then you have the complete R&D of these online pedagogy, curricula, etc. So how this happens? You have to have some standard benchmarking. Then you have to grade it. How do you do it? You should have a real measuring body, that is board of studies. So you have a regular board of study meetings, and most of the times we take feedback from the student, but teacher somehow shy away from reading it thoroughly. Okay, somebody is criticizing, no, I don't want to read. Immediately we put it off. We say that no, the student is did not attend the class or is not a sincere student. That is why he has written like this, because I'm the topmost teacher. No, that should not happen. You should be having positive attitude to go through the student feedback. Even a bad student is writing, we should read it closely, analyze, and we should have some mechanism as an individual to correct. And also in each curricular revision, you should have the student feedback with you when you are doing the curricular revision. So this is mandatory. Otherwise, routine curricular revisions without student feedback, they don't have much of meaning. So then you have some evolving system as an accrediting agency for nearby. Suppose you think you are the superior institute in that region, you go for a hand holding, go to the vicinity, which are the other institutes, and try to handhold them and develop and establish a benchmarking, right? And often we hear that a curricular revision happens today, and then immediately next year you start, the department is sending, I would like to change this course, replace that course. So this is a bad practice. What you should do is, you should have some guidelines, and you have to have some patience. Then minor extent of modifications you should prescribe, like maybe small modifications are okay, but replacing completely this subject by that subject before the batch is graduating, so there will be a lot of chaos. So these things have to be kept in mind. Okay, then somehow you have to encourage the merit. You have to identify who are excelling faculty, right? So what is the typical mechanism? Of course, it's a standard practice for most of the institutes that self-appraisals are there. But what for? So self-appraisals are collected in a routine process, and then maybe once they are going for a next level of promotion, these are looked at sometimes and sometimes not. So it becomes a very routine. So in my opinion, self-appraisals should have indexing. That means that each faculty, after submitting the self-appraisal, should get a some index on a scale of 100, let us say. So you are at, or on a scale of 10, you are 7.5 on 10, 8.2 on 10, etc. And some suggestions. Over a period of 3 years, if there is something, then you give an alert mechanism, escalation measures and all that, so that a counseling session, academic counseling is there in place, so that this particular faculty admits with the spirit these counseling measures and then try to come up in future. So that's faculty indexing based on self-appraisals I strongly advocate. Then needless to say, you should also have a reward mechanism for high impact achievers. So this could be through chair professors, need not be always cash. It could be some appreciation certificates, and there are other means. For example, you can give a sponsored project and a fund, or a book grant or travel grant. So various means are there. So you can incubate these channels so that there is a motivation to top faculty who are excelling. Then proper support corrective mechanisms to achieve the high impact, right? So that is what I am saying. You should have a proper mechanism. But one has to keep it in mind. One should not lose in terms of quantity rather than quality, because the moment you introduce, then people will say, what is the metric? Then there is a template, then you just put a tick marks, and this person has a lot of data. So let us declare this person is meritorious. It should not happen. So as academicians, we should be in a position to gauge the merit of a particular contribution. So that's what I think. So then, how do you strengthen in-service continuous professional development? Yeah, you have to identify particular areas and declare that in this area we want to excel. Okay. Suppose as an institute you are in 100, but in a particular department, suppose in mechanical engineering you are in 20. So then you declare that that is your strength and try to achieve 5 in coming 3 years. So that's the thing you have to strengthen, identify, and then strengthen these thrust areas. Then in-house training through experts, this is very much required. Even though I'm having 27 years of experience, maybe I may have some lacuna. Maybe I'm not expert in delivering particular things to particular audience. So I should also be given opportunity to attend some training programs and things like that. And needless to say, academic institutes should be almost be running a parallel HR management models, because need of the day is you develop a corporate culture. What is your competency, where you're outperforming, where you're underperforming, this has to be identified. Unless you do this, you won't be able to excel. So that's very much required. So in this process, there is always a problem. Somebody say, okay, my uppers, that is self-appraisal, is talking great. So I'm the superior and your thing is not good. So it should not happen. We should be readily willing to accept what our strengths and our weakness and gauge accordingly. So then what is the next goal is strategic developmental plans. That means on each academic unit, develop initiatives, assess their own progress. That means naturally, I'm talking about benchmarking, right? This is need of the day. Today, it's very easy with the transparent system that we have. Suppose an institute wants to benchmark, you have an NIR of data, and you have a QS world ranking data, and then maybe THC data. You can easily compare and propose what is your peer whom you would like to outperform. So you fix after benchmarking, and then fix a target of short-term goals, and then medium-term goals and long-term goals, and come up with a plan to achieve these goals. So that's the exercise after benchmarking one has to do. Then in this process, once you do the benchmarking, your thrust areas are identified. Once thrust areas, then you declare that in this area from rank 10, I would like to come to 5 in coming 3 years. So then you have proper mechanism in place. Okay. So that's where I'm saying you should have a focused plan. Now, the system is always a one person centric, etc. No, individuals versus collaborative approach. This always a debate. So you should have all a clear policy, which individual is chalking out the plans, and then what is the cluster where you are brainstorming, and then who is supporting, and what is the deadlines, etc. So there should be always a collaborative approach. Then we are coming to a very important goal of NEP. What it says is you have to recognize Indian knowledge systems. So today, Government of India with this NEP 2020, majority of the institutes, they have slowly started Indian knowledge systems. So IIT Kharagpur is the first one. We have a center of excellence in Indian knowledge systems, and AICT also has their own Indian knowledge systems. So now here, let me be loud and clear. So what if you have IKS? Some people are under the impression that so you are reading a document and then you're just preaching. No, you want to, since you are in a technology institute, these whatever the Indian knowledge, you should be in a position to come up with advanced technologies and then provide various tools so that this Indian knowledge is easily accessible to wider audience. So that means it's not just a routine reading we are advocating. You do a lot of research. Once you have a center, you have a faculty, you have students, UG students are taking a lot of electives in this. So then natural is within a technology institute, you have various soft tools which can be used for developing various graphical devices, etc. So you can innovate. There is no limit. So therefore, it's not just a historical perspective. Efforts be made to bring out the science and knowledge, integrate with the technology. For example, you give a project and a data-driven project. A UG student knows a lot of innovations, and with a click of a button, you can see on a particular topic various key points and some pictures, so that the proper Indian knowledge is readily accessible to the needy. So that's what I am saying. So of course, another aspect of IKS is you also bring out the sustainable development goals, which are indicated by UN. These are 17 in number. So somehow you take your education, your innovation towards achieving one of these SDGs. So that's the thing. And get sponsorships to encourage studies on Indian knowledge systems. Like you can incubate a scholarship, right? And then you can introduce a certificate for a UG student who is excelling apart from their UG curricula, somebody is excelling here. So you introduce a certificate and then declare that this student has shown excellence in Indian knowledge systems, right? So there is a lot with IKS we can do in a engineering institute. Okay. So then you have to integrate with your online platforms. That means you create content to the school children. So most of the times we teach for regular bachelor students, master students, and then PhD students. But if somebody asks for a school level, then I will just try to run away. Okay, I'm busy. So it's not that. We have to spend enough time and try to create a content for school children so that your knowledge is also, that means you have to come down one level and then disseminate at that level, so that the pedagogy approach will be slightly different from somebody who is all along at the school level. So there is a nice way of integration. So you come one step down and then create content to school children. So that's very much required. Then you have a case studies, impact of technology. So we have a lot of online platforms, a lot of online teaching happened. You give it as a project to UG student and then assess the impact. As I just mentioned, somehow you have to bring in management strategies for technology optimization, learning, pedagogy, etc. And you cannot shy away. You have to show it to the youngsters. Have open days of your academic units and institute. Call nearby school children and then put some extra effort to give a demonstration of the technology of various experiments so that they really get some interest in learning and doing science and technology. And another thing is, how do you enhance the ease of accessibility? That means you have a lot of data, a lot of lectures are recorded, but when you want, you're not getting. It's not a click away, it's on several clicks. Click it, but you're not getting. So somehow you have to develop a database where you can access immediately. So now I have covered so far most of the NEP goals, the key goals, and I have given the possible implementations. So now let me talk about a typical SETI, that is Science, Engineering, Technology Institute, towards NEP goals and possible implementation mechanism. So I briefly mentioned about multiple entry, multiple exit at a UG program. So now here, how do you give this multiple entry, multiple exit? Say you have a gradation based on credit clearance, right? So that means 2 years of credits, let us say, certification. 3 years of credits, you are giving a BSc. 4 years of credits, BTech. 4 years of credits plus BTech honors. Then minor degree, micro, dual major, right? So when I say 2 years of credits, hope you're getting, when your BTech program is 164 years, 1 year, say on an average, you have 40 credits. Now, a student is spending 5 semesters, then cleared 75 credits. Now, this student is not showing interest. Then, if the student completes another 5 credits, 80 credits, which is 2 years of credit, then you give some certification. Of course, you have to identify, okay, clear mapping, and then somebody 3 years of credits, that means 120, you give some, I'm not saying BSc, it's just a BSc in, actually it should be. So these are some thoughts various institutes have already come up, they have implemented. So that's why I have listed this. And 4 years typical, it's a BTech. 4 years plus, that means 160 plus BTech honors, then minor degree. Here minor I briefly explained, mechanical major, electronics minor, whereas physics major, mathematics minor, so things like that. Then a micro specialization, that also I explained, dual major. So today at IIT Kharagpur, we are almost getting up to have a dual major. So here you have got admission to say BTech aerospace engineering, but you are showing interest to get a major in mechanical engineering as well. So that means in aerospace, you need 160 credits, but then in mechanical to get a dual major, there will be a credits, say 60 or 70, which are declared by the academic unit. So if the student completes these two together, then you will be given dual major. Of course, student may be able to do it within 4 years, or a student may have to spend an additional semester to do it. So these are the things which depends on the academic guidelines and regulations. So then one can achieve, right? So suppose somebody has enrolled for dual major but not able to complete, then what should be done? So these are the things you have to. Then entry, multiple entry is based on credit clearance. That means you have to identify the clear mechanism. I have done, let us say, at a particular institute, 100 credits. Then you are coming to this institute. This institute may not really recognize 100 credits. Then you should have a proper mechanism to claim, right? So that is where the academic bank of credits becomes handy. So then at IIT Kharagpur, at UG curricula, we have introduced, apart from a typical extracurricular activities, extra academic activity, which is a NSS, NCC, etc. We have started 4 years back National Cultural Appreciation, where through our Center for Folk Arts and Performing Arts, we are offering music, dance, etc. With experts, and then a lot of students are enrolling for these subjects, which is under EAA, which is mandatory. It has some credits, so student has to complete to get the degree. So it is one of the verticals of our EAA. So definitely this gives enthusiasm to a lot of students who could not otherwise continue their hobbies, and then probably students who are into this, they are mentally also stable. Then you have open electives through our Indian knowledge systems, humanities, and management. That means today you have to integrate these verticals into your technology, science and technology disciplines. So don't look at them as in isolation. You have complete, that's what I said, data driven, management driven models can be applied into study of these IKs and come up in a big way. And then maybe, who knows, some student who can really understand and come up with a nice tool can immediately suggest that this experiment can be taken up by so and so to reproduce what was hidden in the Indian knowledge systems, right? So these are the things which we are. Then coding and AIML, it's need of the day, and UG Research Council. I talked in brief. This is, if any institute is not focusing, you are missing the bus, because these UG students, you have a bright talent, only you have to channelize them. Otherwise, they will end up with preparing a UG thesis in one month's time and things like that. Therefore, you channelize them from the beginning, identify their interest, and then give a problem which is challenging enough for them so that they excel. PhD, already I talked about MS degree exit option. Then PG, first year, you can identify and give some diploma, 2 years. MTech or MSc, 2 year plus. MS research. Then you can have MSc in collaboration with the PSUs and industry. Then transdisciplinary MTech program. What do you mean by transdisciplinary? So you have MTech electrical engineering, but or BTech electrical engineering, and somebody would like to shift to MTech in electronics engineering. So BTech in mechanical engineering, MTech dual degree into aerospace engineering. So you come up with a cluster of institutes, cluster of academic units, which will recognize their BTech and then take them to dual degree under transdisciplinary MTech. So these are the key innovations one could think of. So under NEP, it is loud and clear that we should focus more on how to address students with disabilities. Unfortunately, most of the institutes, they are not paying much attention as on today. So you require a lot of effort. You have to create state-of-art technology, teaching aids, hearing aids, mobility aids. So a lot of things with the current day technology, and the challenges are different. So we have to have a separate wing which will develop the complete infrastructure for this. Then multilingual assistance. This is again misnomer. Somebody saying, if you are teaching in Telugu, then when the student will learn. Please, what NEP is saying, at a first year level, if the student is comfortable in understanding, disseminating in mother tongue, the first year subjects can be provided in mother tongue, at least the key gist of it, short lectures, etc. So it's like that. See, today, two students, when they talk, they're talking science, but the generic vocabulary they talk in mother tongue. So it's exactly that way. So we are not here to translate the exact science in terms of the particular mother tongue. So we are not targeting that. So this multilingual assistance is for that. So this gives fruitful results for the needy students. And the other one is peer assisted learning. Today, a student who is feeling shy to ask questions readily goes to a senior and asks questions. So therefore, we should identify a mechanism where the seniors are mentors for the students for academic mentoring, and you give some recognition to the senior students who are under this PAL scheme. I'm sure this works very well. Then recognizing limited credits of under NPTEL. So this is very much need of the day, because this brings diversity in learning. Student today at a particular institute get an opportunity to learn from an expert at other institute, and still the learning is not in vain. The student is getting a credit transfer through NPTEL recognized certification. Then monitoring academic health and course completion plan is very much required. That means student end of third year still clearing only 40 credits. We should not invite such a situation. We should have a clear mechanism of why the student is under the scenario from first year, then come up with a course completion plan, then ask your faculty advisor to pay extra attention, and then try to measure it, identify if really the student is suffering, then you change the track a little bit. With the NEP, you have option of channelizing into various other things. So then somehow identify the real interest. So then we are coming to the towards the last leg of this talk. How do we achieve? We are talking a lot, but who is there to, suppose I complete some credits, I come to you. So will you recognize? So there could be a problem. So what is the key weapon? That is nothing but National Credit Framework. So under this National Credit Framework, it's a it's a function. So I mean, I'm a mathematician, so I want to put it this. What is the functionality of it? It's a three-dimensional function, right? It's a function in R3. One vertical is academics, that is academic learning, that is school education, higher education, etc. Vocational skills, then experiential learning. So what is vocational skills? This is academic learning. So that means you get admission, go and keep on studying the degree. Don't look for the vocational training. You are on one axis. I'll show you from the NCRF document very soon, the graph. Then another axis is vocational skill. That means you are going for the true vocational skill. You're going on academic axis. That means I am up to plus 12 or plus 2, but then I don't want to jump into bachelor's immediately. Go to the vocational axis, do some certifications, gain skills in the vocational direction. So with plus 2 with vocational, you should be mapped to something, right? Because you're not idle. You gained a vocational skill. Another is experiential learning. That is the third axis. What it says, you are getting some training. Suppose you are interested in dance. You underwent a dance training. You got a certificate. Keep it aside. After 3 years, you really became an expert. So then you got an expert certificate. So that's the experiential learning, right? So with these three axes, NEP goals should be achieved. How do we do it? There should be a level playing platform. So that is nothing but the academic bank of credits. So under this portal, each student gets a unique ID. Then what is the key objective of academic bank of credits? So academic progress monitoring. That means from class 1, the student gets a ID. Then class 1 completed, 2 completed, 3 completed. So all the credits are there. So any verifying agency or the next you want to switch to institute, the entire data is in place. Highlighting areas of growth of a particular individual student. That means some student is definitely, they are excelling in academics, but not really, they are not in the top 10 band, but they are in something else. So that is very visible with this Streamlined record keeping, that is a challenge today. So through this, we are resolving that once for all. The record keeping is completely streamlined. Enhanced student flexibility. Why do you, because your credits are in store for 7 years of time. So that means you're leaving after 3 years, then your credits are in place. Then you can claim after 2 years of break, you can come back and claim. So there are regulations to guide it. Long-term credit storage, that's what I said. Then streamlined credit transfer. Today, a particular institute has a registration in ABC, and students of that institute, the credits are in place. Immediately when the student goes to another institute, since this institute is under ABC, it's a straightforward transfer. Okay, so this is a greater achievement, that is, and verified institutions upload. It's not that everybody is uploading. So once you register, there is a verification, digital signature, etc., comes to the institute, and a particular person has to verify, say, academic section, etc. Then your registration is in place, and they can start uploading. So this is in a nutshell the key features of ABC. So with this, we can achieve a lot. Now, before I conclude, so this is the graph from NCRF guidelines, right? National Credit Framework. So on this x-axis, we have academic access. On y-axis, we have skills, and z-axis, experiential learning. Okay. So that's what I'm saying on academic access. So you're coming to class 8, 10, class 12, UG1, UG2, UG3. So you're coming this way. But suppose after plus 2, you are going in this direction. So yes, you can. So you're earning skill access. That means your certification, 2 skills. So then really you have gone into a manufacturing company, and then you spent 1 year, and then you are recognized completely with the certification. So you're at plus 2, you're going in this. Then suddenly you have developed, say, some performing arts proficiency, training proficiency expert, and then you're master. You're at academic access plus 2, but you're going into this vertical. So then how you can be mapped? So these are the, with each skill set where you can be mapped. So it needs a lot of understanding of reading. So these are the NCRF credit levels. Okay. So what it says is, do not just go in routine, and do not discourage anybody that, oh, you're not studying, you're going to a vocational training. So typical society is, somebody is not studying and then going to a vocational skill, you will look them little down. So what NEP is advocating, do not do that. Rather, you give the flexibility, let the student choose their interest. Okay. So now, finally, to conclude, let us break the silos. So that is the key mantra, key message. So that means don't have narrow vision, you just have widen. And if somebody is experimenting, let them experiment. See, we keep seeing, for example, when I spent 2 years in under Humboldt Fellowship in Germany, some school children, they are studying class 10 and they are taking a break, and they're coming to India to work with an NGO for 6 months. Can we imagine? So that means parent is giving the freedom, and the education system is giving the freedom. So do not put pressure, encourage passion of learning, and have patience to realize the fruits. This is most important. See, NEP has just started. It's a long way to go. All of us have to understand. All of us have to implement. Of course, there will be challenges. That's what I have listed. So we understand, and then we try to implement. Then you have to wait for the fruit. You cannot just rush. I have done it. Next year, I want to see some vertical shift across students and blah, blah. So that's not going to happen. Have patience to realize the fruit of NEP. So that's a key mantra from our side. And Government of India is declaring 2047 as the technology vision achievement. So It's organizing a lot of technology vision workshops. So therefore, under TIFAC, so we have also organized one. So NEP 2020 passage to technology vision. So thanks a lot for your patience, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So we'll take some questions from the
Yes.
participants. So some participants have posted. Professor Vijay Kumar of our university, there are two questions posed by him. If a lateral entry student finishes 1 year and wants to exit, so what certificate we should be awarding to such kind of students?
No. So first thing, forget about lateral entry or our own student. First, as an academic institute, we have to brainstorm and come up with a Senate approved norms. Suppose you have a 3-year degree, 4-year degree, X credits. I mean, not proportion. You should have milestones. Milestone 1 credit, milestone 2 credit, milestone 3 credit. So now you declare after your Senate approval, milestone 1, this is what I'm awarding. Milestone 2, this is what I'm awarding. Once this process is in place, let us say a lateral entry student comes in, then you map the student to milestone, whatever you have. So lateral entry, somebody has come and spent 1 year here. End of that 1 year, how much milestone credits the student acquired, and you declare whatever equivalence. So that's the thing. Hope I have answered. Any questions?
So he says the lateral entry students have diploma, like they have diploma degree and then they join
No,
the
no,
second
no.
year.
Please, sir. I'm not naming anything. Current structure of lateral entry through diploma.
Okay,
There
okay.
is nothing. Lateral entry for us means a student from X institute is coming to Y institute.
Okay.
So names and all institute centric, and then with a wider acceptability, you give some names. Milestone 1, this name. Milestone 2, this name. So, for example, if you take the National Credit Framework, they have given. So, last but one slide. Yeah, so it is showing something like that. I have not shared. 10th plus 3 years of diploma, you equal to UG certificate. 10th plus 2 years of diploma equal to 12th. 10th plus 2 year of ITI plus NIOSS, that is the skill, 12th. So these are the equivalences they have created. So following that equivalences, academic institute has to deliberate in their respective academic senate and come up with these milestone degrees. Okay.
Yes. So there's another question. If a student does 5 to 6 courses related to machine learning, can we give a minor degree in ML in addition to the 160?
Provided the rules of the game are declared beforehand.
Okay.
If these 5-6 courses are listed under minor in AML, naturally, suppose these are not listed, then definitely we cannot. So rules of the game should be declared. So what are the minor programs in an academic institute should be a priori announced and declared by the academic senate. So then each student will target to achieve these.
Yes, sir. So in this regard, I have one query. Like you initially have explained clearly about the exit and the entry programs. Are there any clear guidelines laid out by NEP, or is it the academic senate or the academic council of the university institute should lay down specific rules after detailed deliberations? And also, you in the discussion you have raised this. Let's say a student is coming from X institute to going to Y. So there must be some kind of an MOU between the institutions. So is it mandatory, or the student through the ABC, the credits recorded in the bank, can he directly come to the institute? So somewhere down, I am getting a sense. If I am correct, please, if I'm wrong, please correct me. So, are there any rigid rules or flexible, leaving it for the institute to decide, or NEP has clearly laid down certain guidelines?
No, so NEP is not saying you do this first year you declare, second year this that. But under NCRF, there are some guidelines given like a diploma. Then you call it maybe for first year you give it some certification, second year diploma, third year maybe some bachelor's with something, etc. But having said that, it is the academic institute. They have to brainstorm and come up with various milestone degrees which are widely accepted. For example, recently I have seen, I think University of Hyderabad has declared, if you go to their website, they have a document, they are saying not only multiple exit, they have also come up with a procedure for multiple entry. So what I'm trying to say is, you have generic guidelines. Following the generic guidelines, academic institutes have to brainstorm. For example, somebody asked me, is it that across institutes we can declare that we take X institute, Y institute? Why? Why would anyone would be willing immediately? They would not. So you say that to start with, I am at this level, maybe I'll identify some level playing institutes. A benchmark could be NIRF, etc. That's what I said. So based on that, you declare it to start with, okay, anyone within this cluster, I will immediately accept. So that is why ABC is one level playing. Every institute is registering, then government is approving, then you declare your rules within this cluster. Suppose I am talking about NIRF for 200 band, I will take it. Okay, then you come up with the guidelines, things like that.
Okay, clear. We have one other question from Dr. Anuradha from Greetham University.
Yes.
What is the credit range for the minor degree? Is it 18 to 20 as mentioned in the AICT?
Oh no, see this credit, it depends on institute to institute. Like when I say meaning of credit, somebody 310 per week, 4 credits. Somebody will say 310 is some 10 credit, 12 credits. So we should not talk in terms of numerics, right? So if you ask me, I don't want to comment in terms of numerics. What I would say, suppose on an average, suppose 8 semesters of BTech program, right? So 8 semesters of BTech program, you will cluster into say 40 subjects. Out of 40, first year 10 subjects are base 1. Then second year, third year, core subjects are some 20. Then another 10 subjects electives, things like that. Your minor should declare the core subjects which are required to achieve that. So suppose 160 credits to get the BTech degree, minor may contain about 25. So things like that. So it depends on how you are talking your credits into numerics. Correspondingly, about say 6 subjects. 6 subjects you do it, you get a minor.
So we have one other question from Professor G. Bhupal Raj, our own Dean Agriculture, because we have an agriculture program as well in our university. So any information regarding the agriculture degree program, like because when agriculture is concerned, the ICAR comes into picture. So any specific guidelines laid out on these
According
agriculture?
to me, this is the best example where you can implement credit recognitions, etc. easily. Because today in India, as per the ICR, most of the agricultural institutes, state and central, they have the curricula, and then with the, let us say you have a farm machinery, you have a, say, food processing technology subject. More or less, this food processing technology subject is on par with various institutes. So less dispute, because it's very unified across the country. Therefore, according to me, it's very easy to have a complete handshake. You can straight away recognize, in my opinion.
Yeah, Dr. Ravikran, you have any questions with you recorded?
There is one question. Hemant Kumar Gupta. How syllabus mapping students admitting through lateral entry
Pardon, I missed the first part.
How syllabus mapping for students admitting through lateral entry? How can we map the syllabus?
No, we are not mapping any syllabus. Student has a credit in the pocket, and the student comes, and if the student has to do little more subjects than a regular student studying here, the student has to do. So it's a matter of recognizing what is there in the pocket, and that recognition is simpler if the academic bank is recognizing and those credits are transferred to the institute. That is where I am talking about MOU. If you have an MOU institutes in a cluster, it's a straightforward. The student comes in and then joins like any other student and continues. Otherwise, out of say 50 credits, this student only 40 are recognized. The student has to do compensate the 10 credits. So it's the complete understanding. We won't normalize any syllabus or anything. Okay.
Sir, one more question. For example, if a student joined in BSc Mathematics program,
Yeah.
and if he wanted to shift to BTech program, can this be done?
Yes, so that's what with the NEP it should be done, because it's no more degree specific. It is you as a BSc student. As a BSc student, you have your credits in the pocket. So then the student joins another institute, and if that institute for BTech, these are the subjects required, then the student start taking and clearing. So then that institute may give the BTech degree. So that's what. Okay.
And sir, one last question.
This is the bigger goal we want to achieve through NEP.
Yes,
right?
Yes, sir.
So institutes have to really work. Today at IIT Kharagpur, we have a BS program and then BTech program, and hardly any difference. Like it's so today with the BS program, you can go to an interdisciplinary dual degree tech program, right? So BS student in geology geophysics can go for an MTech in petroleum engineering. So that's possible. So why not? So a BSc student with a credit in the pocket, they can go to another institute and complete the credits of BTech, then they're given BTech degree.
And sir, one last question, sir. Nowadays, many private institutions are running, behind getting projects and publications. They are actually targeting, I would say, research faculty, keeping their teaching skills aside. What NEP suggests, a research institute or a teaching institute?
If you ask me, it should be both hand in hand, because I don't want to make any controversial statement, but I can tell with my experience, many times when we go for faculty selection, these young researchers who are at the entry level, they have very good publications, say large number, but many times they fumble at the fundamental level. So what I'm trying to say is, without teaching, you won't be able to excel in research, and you are just in research, your fundamentals, there will be blocked. So you should have complete hand in hand. You have research faculty, but let them be involved in teaching, tutorial preparations, and coming up with very innovative ideas and things like that. This is my personal thought based on my experience with various faculty interviews.
Thank you, sir. Rashekar sir, no more questions from my side.
Sir, to end the session, like one comment, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Like NEP lays down specific goals with guidelines. So it is up to the university and the institute to interpret properly and then get it ratified by the academic council. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So with this, I'll propose the vote of thanks. I thank Professor Rashekar sir for enlightening us all on the possibilities and challenges for the implementation of NEP. Specifically, the presentation on the NEP goals with clear guidelines for every goal, and the flexible programs, the entry-exit options, and the dual major, the interesting degree, and also the guideline of creating a repository by creating a TLC. And the interesting part is promoting the Indian knowledge systems, giving credits to the arts and culture through the national cultural appreciation, and another point on the peer mentoring. So these are really enlightening us to us, and also I appreciate the participants for staying all through the this webinar and interacting with the speaker with their questions. I also thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for encouraging us to lead on such several leadership initiatives. And finally, thank the Registrar for supporting us on the logistics front. I thank one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for accepting this.
Yeah, my pleasure. And everybody patiently hope they enjoyed. This is my experience, so I hope I always mentioned at the beginning, one can negate my views. That's real possible. So it's not the view. Okay. Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you
very
so much, sir.
Yeah.
I
Thanks.
think yeah, the participants, please fill the feedback form, and you will get the participation certificate to your email.
Sir, let's conclude this. Participants, please fill the feedback form and exit from the meeting.